But looking back, I mean, it's kind of weird to think, I won't do it again, but I'm very appreciative of, the time I had and everything it taught me. My name is Culver. I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee, went to Baylor High School, and I was a former Virginia Tech football player, played for 3 years, right before I had a DQ.
So can you go into a little bit about kind of what made you DQ, the injuries that led up to that, and your whole process?
I had one kind of nagging injury, it was a chronic deal. It's kind of a hard thing to explain. My navicular bone, at some point in my early life, I had fractured it, and it kind of healed weird, and it caused the joint to be degenerative and arthritic, and that just gave me a lot of problems with bone spurs, just kind of hurting it again. And I've had that pretty much my whole career.
Did you have any sort of surgeries, rehab to help with that going on along the way?
I've had 3 different surgeries on it. The first one was my freshman year at college. It was kind of more major one. Second 2 were just kind of cleanups. But after the first surgery, I kind of knew that my career was kind of on the downhill. In my later stage of playing, it started to spread up my legs, so my next joint over started to kind of degenerate as well, and I started having a lot of problems on my right side just from overcompensating. I used to pull my hamstring, groin a lot, and it just kind of grinded me down. So it was really either hang them up or get a joint replacement at 22. So,
Jeez. Oh my gosh. So I kind of wanted to go into is there anything specifically that you learned about yourself through this experience that you might not have really realized if you hadn't gone through something like this?
Yeah, it was a great character builder. I just learned to kind of accept how things are sometimes. They're not always going to be fair, and I found that out pretty quickly. And I just kind of learned to persevere and kind of accept my fate and just go for as long as I could.
How have you overcome the mental side of what you've been through? I know that there's a lot of physical, but there's a lot of mental that comes along with injuries. Was there anything that helped you through the mental side of it?
I would never impose on others, but really late in my career, I turned to religion a little bit. I just kind of had faith that everything happened for a reason. And I just remained optimistic that, football or not, I was going to be okay regardless. And I was confident enough in who I am that I know that football didn't define me. So
going off of that, since you said football doesn't define who you are there any specific things that you've been able to do now with your life since you have stepped away from football that you've been able to get out of this positively?
I immediately started working with the strength staff, so I'm interning with them.
That's awesome.
So I still get to go in every day and see all my old teammates and coaches. So that's really nice. I was really grateful that they let me do that. So,
is that something that you possibly might want to make a career out of, that you've been able to step into and have an opportunity to be able to do because you have stepped away from football?
I'm a criminology major, so it was either 2 very different paths, but it's definitely something I'd be interested in, and I've really enjoyed it. So,
do you think that's something that you could have experienced and really realized that you might want to do that if you were still playing football? Would you have had those same opportunities?
I possibly would have, but it would have been a lot later in my career. There's currently 3 other interns, and 2 of them were both teammates of mine, and they've graduated and stopped playing. So it's definitely something to do, and I'm just glad they're able to let us help out still and be around the team and everything. So,
what is your biggest takeaway from these injuries that you would have to say?
Just enjoy the time you have, because it will, regardless, your career will come to an end eventually. And really just what I found out about myself was I just kind of learned to persevere through things. And just kind of taught me that life isn't fair and you just need to kind of deal with the cards you're dealt. And that was my biggest takeaway, is just kind of learning to control what I can control.
What was your coping mechanism with your frustration and continuing to push through it for as long as you did?
Probably my family. I just want to keep going. And I mean, I remember freshman year we were talking about it, and I just want to go for as long and hard as I could. So that was my goal. And when it finally came that time, I realized it was time to step away. Then I didn't have any regrets. So just my family and friends were the biggest people that kept me going. I mean, just kind of name on my back and having pride in that was what I think helped me get to where I am.
Is there anything that you would do to kind of keep those negative thoughts out of your head as they come flooding in?
I used to take a step back a lot and just kind of look at, where I came from and how I got here. And I was just proud that I was able to be at the level where I'm at, and having pride in what you've done was the biggest thing for me.
Do you look at the game of football differently now that you've stepped back from it?
Definitely do. I mean, when you're playing, you don't really see the end of the tunnel, but I mean, looking back, I mean, I feel like there were times where I would kind of get in a rut with it, and I kind of not really took it for granted, but I mean, it's just kind of getting the grind of things. But looking back, I mean, it's kind of weird to think, I won't do it again, but I'm very appreciative of, the time I had and everything it taught me. So
Seriously, thank you so much for doing this.